Just to finish off on last week, again, I will say it was a really hard-fought, tough victory for our football team, and I couldn't be prouder of our 19 seniors. I thought the leadership of our football team was outstanding through all 60 minutes of the football game, and I'm extremely proud of not only the coaches but the players, and I thought it was a great win. And as anything, it's off on the next week, and we've got a great opponent coming in here. Their first 3 football games, when you watch the video, you've got great respect for this football team. You see them on defense. They run around extremely well. They're led by a great all-conference defensive end and 2 really good inside linebackers. And then offensively, they have got a tremendous quarterback, a young man that is a transfer in there, and a young man that I believe is up for the National Player of the Year in FCS football this year, and a young man that makes all the plays. He's got the ability to run and throw, and we have tremendous respect for this team coming in, and it'll be a great opponent for Saturday night. And with that said, I'll open up to any questions.
Will it be tough to motivate the guys coming off the big BG win? You have Coastal Carolina coming. Will it be tough for you, think, to motivate your guys this week?
No, I don't think it will be. I think one of the things that I'm really proud of this football team and why I really put a lot of credit to our team, to the 19 seniors, is I think everybody said it was going to be tough to go out to Arizona. And then I think everybody said, well, Coach, how are you guys going to go back out west and go to Wyoming? And then everybody said, well, how are you going to come off 2 road trips and play your rival? And so I think one of the things that this team has is it has great leadership. And the leadership is all about our seniors. And they've done a great job leading this football team, and I expect them to do the same this week.
Maybe not surprised, but how impressed are you with the way your team has played with the first 3 weeks of the season? You know, you being this your first year as head coach and losing some of the talent that you guys had last year. I mean, how the team has performed to your expectations so far? Well,
so far, the leadership of our football team is something that we've worked really hard on cultivating over the last 9 months. And it's something that, we have good offensive players. We have good defensive players. We have good special teams players. And we've had that here. But one of the things that we've really tried to divulge into is becoming one team. And I think through 3 football games, the leadership of our football team on every facet of it is outstanding. And that's what I'm so proud about Saturday night, is it wasn't just the offense, it wasn't just the defense, it was the offense, it was the defense, it was the special teams. All were responsible for that victory.
Injuries, Best, Farr, anybody else?
Farr, we assume will still be out this week. We do hope to get Danny back sometime this season, I will say that. Byron Best right now is probably about his day-to-day. We hope he's potential for Saturday night, definitely not out for sure, and anxious that that's the news, because it certainly could have been worse than that.
That's a knee, right?
Knee, yes.
It looked like Elijah Jones got tweaked towards the end of the game as well.
Yeah, Elijah finished the game. He's fine. All those guys are back, and Christian was another one that went out in the second quarter, was certainly back in the end of the football game. So great to come out of that game clean and have everybody back with us.
You mentioned last week that, the MAC, it doesn't matter who you guys open with, whether it's BG or anybody else, you have to be ready to play every week. But what kind of momentum do you think that win last week can do for this team going forward?
Well, it's the first MAC game, which is huge. It's your rival, and it's our first home football game. And so all those factors are in it, are great. But for us, it's the next step. And we have really, really worked on the process that it takes to become a very good football team. And so at the end of the day, it's a great win. It was a great environment. We appreciate all those things. But it was back to work yesterday. And there's a lot of things we need to continue to work on if we want to get where we want to go.
Can you talk about Cheatham a little bit? Because I know at the beginning of the season you said you were trying to move around and get him on the field because he was one of your best 11 on defense.
Well, Cheatham Norrells is a young man that's got great athletic ability. And he's got the potential to be as good as he wants to be. And the one thing I really appreciate about what Cheatham's done is over the last 9 months, and a lot of credit goes to not only Cheatham, but some of those great seniors around him that play in the secondary, he has decided to become an extremely good football player. How he's practiced, how he trained in the all-season, what he's done through fall camp, and I think, he's really played very steady and very consistent through the first 3 football games and had a great game for us Saturday night. And I'm really proud of Cheatham because not only is he a great young man off the field or on the field, but he's a great character young man off the field.
When you're bouncing him back from safety to corner, can that delay his development and how do you try to make up for lost time?
Yeah, maybe. I think one of the things that it just depends what you play in the secondary, what kind of coverages that you play. And, when Tuke came in and we sat down, we looked at the depth chart, we looked at what our roster looked like, and we always talk about who are our best 11 players, and let's make sure we're getting our best 11 players on the field. We were fortunate we were getting Mark back, and we had Jermaine coming back at safety, and, we knew Cheatham was a young man that had exceptional talent. So let's try to find where he best fits, and, I thought they did a great job identifying, let's put him at corner, let's teach him let's continue his development in the secondary. And again, a lot of credit goes to Cheatham too, because it tells you his intelligence level and his ability to play both. But I think it just depends what you play, Ryan, based on your success there.
T.O.'s had 2 great games. Let's say he has another great game against Coastal Carolina. Does that put him basically in the driver's seat to be the starter the rest of the season, or?
Well, I think that's something we'll constantly look at. But again, one of the great things that we have here is we have 2 young men that have succeeded at such a high rate at quarterback. And I really believe that Terrence is playing extremely well right now. He's playing with great confidence. He started both games the last 2 weeks really coming out, playing steady, consistent, making some really good throws. And right now, we feel like I've always said, that I'm going to play the young man that gives us the best chance to be successful. And right now, Terrence is playing at such a high rate that he's the guy that will start the game. Again, we'll evaluate practice this week. Austin Danton, we have tremendous faith in. He's a young man that has played extremely well and won huge football games for us, and we know Austin will continue to do that for us in our program.
Can you walk me through Alonzo? You signed him, what, it would have been 2 years ago? And then he had to go to a post-grad school.
Well, initially,
he was here last year, right?
Right.
On campus.
We signed him from his postgraduate school, and there was a math class that deemed him a non-qualifier when he came to the University of Toledo, and so Alonzo had to sit out, pay his own way here. Okay, and this is a young man that's an out-of-state tuition, pay his own way here at the University of Toledo. He did that. Alonzo's got a great story. Worked in the dorm last year just to financially make it for himself, and then unfortunately, with the rules being what they are with the NCAA, cannot truly be with our football team. And so, I give that young man great credit. He had a dream and a goal and a vision to be who he wanted to be, and was able to join our football team this summer full time, and has been fortunately for us, a very productive player so far this season.
What was his job?
You'll have to ask him, but I don't think. Yeah, that's true. His job, that's a good comment, fair comment, Ryan. He worked in the basement of one of the residence halls, and worked a multitude of things, security. He did a cafeteria, taking out some of the garbage, some of those kind of things. But again, my hat's off to that young man of his own story of persevering and making it here. Great job of that.
You said you need to improve on some things. What are those things that you believe that you need to improve on?
First of all, overall it's consistency. We still have not put a product of 4 quarters of the best football we can play, and you're always striving to gain that. But at times we played really good. The second half of Wyoming, I thought we were outstanding. I thought we came out really strong last Saturday. We hit a lull in the third quarter, that almost kind of let them creep back into the football game. And so when I look at it offensively, I certainly look at our ability to execute and finish drives in the red zone. Right now, for me, there's too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. And when I look at us defensively, it's continuing to improve on a new scheme. It's still a brand new scheme. You can see us getting better every week at it. But I think we have to really sit down, hone in on the details of what makes good football teams, and we got to continue to work on the process. That's football, and that's what makes great college football teams.
The MAC right now, if I tallied it right, is 35 to 60 on field goals. I think you guys are a little better than that rate. Where do you have is there a cutoff point where you say, okay, we'll kick it, or we're going to go for it? I mean, I imagine it depends on how many yards you have to go, but I guess my point is, kicking in college football is just so hit or miss.
Well,
look into those things?
sure. Well, we're so fortunate here, Ryan, because JD is such a good kicker, and geez, you look at his range from last year. He hit 54, 53. He's got such great range to him that he's exceptional when we put him out there. We've got great faith in him, and I think when you look at kicking overall, I think it goes down to recruiting a little bit and how you go through the process of what makes a good kicker. I think what does make a good kicker, one is I think it's certainly leg strength, but I think it's the development of the kicker. Kicker's a little bit like quarterback. And I think it's all the other intangibles that make that guy up. What's his mental toughness like? Is he a guy that's athletic? Does he have some ability to do some other things? And I think sometimes when you go through the recruiting process, it's what are you looking for in that guy, and what do you expect him to be able to do? But I would agree with you. I think that it's such a huge part of the football game, and if you don't have that guy, boy, it can make life tough.
What was it? Not to belabor the point, but when you bring in Donovan who can do both, was that kind of the idea that if one of them gets two faulters, the punter, the kicker, we got
somebody there? Yeah, I think that's huge. And I know we went round and round about that. That's a scholarship that we use, and how do we best use that scholarship to the best of our football team's ability? But fortunately for us, Brad has the ability to do both of those and be a solid guy behind there, because you certainly don't want to be in a situation you lose one of those guys, and now all of a sudden, and I think we've been in that point in our program at times in years past where, geez, we didn't have anybody there, and it was a tough road to hoe.
Talk about your offensive line and how they've progressed this year with some new players.
Yeah, I'm really proud of those guys, and anytime you lose three seniors on your offensive line, and not only three seniors, but three seniors that have played a lot of football, and all of a sudden now you have to bring in three new guys that have to play consistently for you. I think that's a challenge. But my hats go off to Zach Karen, our center, and Greg Mance, our right guard. Those guys played a lot of football here for us. They're exceptional players, and I think when you have two guys like that are kind of lay the foundation of your groundwork there, and then they hold those other guys accountable and bring them up to their level, then I think you got a chance to be pretty successful. And I think we were fortunate that we got a chance to play those guys last year. A.J. Lindemann played around 400 snaps, and he's looked like he's kind of taken right over at right tackle. Jeff Myers is a young man that played about 200 snaps last year for us, has done a really good job at left guard. And then Josh Hendershot, again, is a guy that played a little bit, but has played really well through the first 3 games of the football season. So, again, there was a drive in that football game in the fourth quarter, and there were 15. It was a 14-play drive that took up about 7 minutes of clock, 7+, and a lot of credit goes to that offensive line and their ability to kind of dominate there when we needed them to dominate.
Why run Owens with 2 plays you take a timeout and then you run your quarterback? I mean, he's probably frustrated at that point. He's susceptible to a cheap shot, I would think.
Well, yeah, I guess my thought was let's put the nail in the coffin. Let's finish the football game, And they had 1 timeout left. They were overloading the box, and my biggest thing was just trying to get out of there. Either let the clock run down.
Right.
Couldn't need. They had a timeout left though, and I didn't want to get into that situation. So that was our biggest thing, Ryan. And maybe it wasn't the best call, but at the end of the day, you sat back and looked at it, and I was still playing to win, and trying to finish the football game.
You guys have faced offenses so far this year that pretty much spread it out, but what do you do to try to stop a guy that's a dual threat like you're going to face this weekend? I mean, as a defense, what do you try to take away when a guy can either run or pass?
Great question. I think we first thing we have to do a great job of stopping the run. You win football games by stopping the run. And one of the things that we have faced now going into our 4th week is an offense that spreads you out to be successful. And I think it'll be another great challenge, because it's the 4th really good quarterback that I would say that we have had to face. And it kind of reminds me of the young man at Wyoming, strong, has the ability to run, use his feet. When he gets out of the pocket, he can make things happen. So again, it'll be a great test for our defense. Coach Tuke probably doesn't want to hear that again. Anything else? All right, thank you. Go Rockets.
Yeah.